Hi.
Okay. All right. I see. Okay, we have Marcia who's joined us. Clifford, thank you. Let me turn my screen on. Can you guys see the screen as well?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Olivia, I think I thought I saw Marcia on. Jade, are you on?
Yes.
Did we lose Marcia?
She said she was going to rejoin.
Okay. I'm gonna try to give everybody a couple of seconds to jump on, you guys, because what we're going over today, I ran through some things last time and I don't want to have to rush through again. Um, we're losing. Where's Jana? Rhonda? Let's see. George is not making it, and Stephanie. So if you want to send them a reminder, Jay, real quick, and see if they're going to jump on. I know they're not doing the full RFP; they're doing the local grant. But still. All right, I'm going to try again to be sensitive to time management of those that have, oh, Stephanie's on. For those that are able to jump on time. So thank you for doing that. Appreciate you. Okay, so again, 45 minutes. I am committed, you guys, to do this in 45 minutes because I think you've already made some amazing steps by saying, hey, your Sunday evenings are mine. And so, or are ours. And so I appreciate that. And I want to really, really respect that. Thank you guys for being on camera. Thank you for consistent. This is the fourth week. And so I'm excited that we get to do this guided mindset shift. We get to do the 20-minute session of really trying to interact with you. I got a session today that Jade, go ahead and send them the needs section sample today that I'm going to go over for our interactive activity, and then we'll do some guided questions and ask Q&A. So couple of different, the answers is yes today, you guys. So right now, should I have received your green light by now? The answer is yes, but ... As I mentioned, I didn't let step in. As I mentioned before, we ran into some challenges, and so therefore, our tech guy, without going into a lot of details, Jade may have to, and I'm trying to avoid this, create your summary tools with the scoring and send it to you independently because we're the only active person in our grants portal, and it's not recognizing everyone else. So we got to get through that recognition barrier. If we don't get through it by tomorrow, we will go ahead and we'll do it ourselves. Like we'll put your information in, and then we'll create the summary tools and send them to you. So either way, Jay, can we commit to everyone that's on the call one way or another? Either if we have to do it, let's get them their summary tools. If it gets activated, let them know that they can now create their summary tools or go in and see their summary tools and score them. Hello, Rhonda. I think she's always, is that Rhonda? I see Marcia. That may not be. Who's Reed? Oh, that's someone's AI notes. Okay. Rhonda says she's trying to get in, Jade. Does she have, hey, Stephanie. I think she has the right, what is she asking me? Oh, her car, she's in a car, so she's got intermittent connection. Okay, so should I have the green light? So that's a note. So today's session, I'm gonna go through it. it's really going to cover, because we have 2 more weeks, so this is our next 2 weeks mantra, and you'll see why, because there's a lot here for us to make sure we have in place as a team, as a cohort, in order to just move forward with grants from this point forward, outside of the RFP, the SGI RFP, but internal in this SGI portal consistently, right? So we got 2 weeks of this, what I'm going to go over today, to make sure we're ready to go. As I mentioned to the group earlier, we are not doing budget and budget justification, but there is a learning module in our platform that I want everybody to go through and make happen or get familiar with. So right now you should have 20 points. If you don't, please work towards getting them. Please work towards getting them. This will be very critical for those that move forward with SGI in being able to validate, verify somewhere along the line you did get your 5 points, whether you got on week 1, 2, 3, or 5, because I think last week I gave everybody a bye because things were happening. But you will need to have 20 points in order to make sure you stay in quote unquote good standing with the process, right? Like how we're moving things forward. And again, we still have those Wednesday afternoon quote unquote office hours to be able to assist and support. So just as a recap, just trying to go back. So week 1, you should be able to name the key 5 sections of a grant. So if you're in a conversation and we're talking about the possibilities of giving you even a mini grant or the big grant, and say, can you tell us the 5 sections of a grant, the 5 key sections? You want to be able to answer that, right? You want to be able to answer that. Your 30-day challenge, which we started 4 weeks ago now, should be done, right? As part of your first 5 points, we said, go ahead and get started. And we were giving you 4 weeks to get that done. That was the coaching call. That was reviewing the sessions. That was getting your priority passion project and some other things in that 30-day challenge. So make sure that's done. That was part of your week 1, getting your PPP. You should have that as well as your unsolicited, excuse that spelling. And you should have participated in the chat, which they won't be able to say, but they'll get that from us. Oh, was Olivia really participatory? You know, did Rhonda jump on even though she was in the car every day? Yes, they were engaged. They were engaged and they were always present. And so that counts towards your points. Week 2, we talked about identifying your battle buddies, ID in your battle buddies. And that was going to be this person, again, as we're building your team and your partners, who's standing with you, right? It could be 1, ideally 2 people that are standing with you in making sure we're, making things happen, right? Or you're making things happen. That person that may say, you're a great person, you don't have to say it yourself, but they'll say it about you, and talk about how committed you are, and be able to do some of the things that you, or say some things about yourself that you may not necessarily want to say. That was week 2. Then last week we kind of had a glitch, or what is it called, a glitch in the matrix. So we gave everybody additional week, which is the week we're at now, because of the UEI and the summary tools, the little glitches I think we were having. And so we're still, Jay, go ahead and mute wherever that sound's coming from. So the UEI, the summary tool, the priority passion project, or scoring it, we're still getting to that. Making sure you can select one, because remember, Jay, are you on?
No, I'm not. I don't know where it's coming from though.
I think it's Rhonda who needs to mute.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Oh God! I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I can. There we go. I'm muted. Okay. But don't, make sure you unmute, Rhonda, if you have anything to say. So, anywho, so then we have the green light, or the scoring, sorry. And then the green light that you're going to still get from Jay to validate the library. I think everybody's clear. I know, Cliff, I think you're current with all your documents. Marcia, I'm not sure if we have all of Marcia's documents. Marcia, do you think we have all of your documents? Have they been uploaded?
Yes, Marcia is current. She sent me her last documents this past week.
Okay, okay. And then Olivia and Cliff. Okay, good. So we got some green. And so make sure they have, for their own sanity in mind, that email that says you've been green lighted for your vault, for your library vault, and that they have everything in there they need. I know some address things are challenging us with the UEIs, and so we're giving a soft yellow green for that challenge people are having. But right now, we still want people to move forward. And then this week, we're going to focus on making sure you can verbally. The most important section of your grant proposal always is your needs section, right? People think, I mean, every section has value. Your design typically has 40, 50 points. But to get to your design, people have to understand the need, and they have to really buy into the fact that what you're proposing will address a real need. So we're going to get into that a little bit today to make sure we do that and do that well, primarily for those that are going after the larger dollars, and even for those that are going after the mini grants. You're going to have to be able to describe your need. And then we're going to submit the grants, submit them to external entities, foundation, state, that one that we find in the grant portal, that selected one. In 2 weeks, we want that grant out the door where you have an opportunity to receive a grant. We got 2 weeks to get to that point, right? That's getting a grant out the door so that you have an opportunity to receive a grant for your PPP, and then also making sure we're moving forward under the SGI RFP, okay? So that's the point system. So and the good news is, we don't have a closed door on any of those 5 points, right? So if you did not get your 5 points, week 1, week 2, week 4, and then you'll have a chance to do what we described today, this week and next week, get your points, because that's going to be a question. Hey, so you got 20 points going into this moving forward? Yes. And that's always the answer we want to be able to say. Any questions on that? So any questions, any comments? I want to get right into our session for today then. So my coach's corner today is really on making sure we understand how important it is for us to convey our needs section, right? And to make sure we understand the needs are limitless. So if you had to write something down, I would want you to write that down. And when I describe my needs section, I want to make sure I maintain the mindset that the needs are limitless, meaning let's not limit ourselves in thinking we can only serve the neighborhood or the community or the region or the state, right? Or the 50 states, right? It's limitless as to what your impact can be, right? And then what you want to have a mindset of doing when you're talking about your need, because it is limitless, you want to think of an arrow. And you want to point that arrow at one particular, in this limitless, in this vast opportunity of everyone that needs what you are offering: program, service, innovation, product, program. Look at one aspect of it, just one, like an arrow. You have to narrow in on that arrow. It's like, I'm serving youth. That's not specific enough. I'm serving youth that are men or boys. That's not specific enough. I'm serving youth that are boys that are between the ages of 10 and 20. That's not specific enough. I'm serving youth that are boys that are in between the ages of 10 and 20 that reside in the state of California, right? You see, you have to keep going further. Like, imagine your arrow penetrating deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into that board, if that's what we're shooting at, in order to hit that target market. Now, be mindful. We all know, as I hit my target, think of the what do they call it, the ripple effect. We know when that pebble drops in the ocean or drops in the water, there's a ripple effect. And that ripple effect says, even though I was hitting that mark, I impacted a family, I impacted a relationship, I impacted a home, I impacted a community, I impacted that kid's future. The impact is going to continue. And we don't always have to define the impact because we know those ripples continue infinitely, but we do need to be able to define the impact, the arrow, right? So when you're defining your need, and this is one of our mantras in our matrix meeting, grant matrix meeting, is that why do we win at grants? It's because of the data. Because of the statistically significant data that we want to use. It has to be statistically significant. What does that mean? So it means that we create a compelling intro to all of our grant proposals, right? To make, and that's our needs section. Our needs section is always first. 99, even if the grantee doesn't ask for it, we put the needs section first because that's the compelling intro to why I'm here. Why you're going to give me that money is because of my compelling intro of my needs section. Hear me loud, hear me clear. You can have a great program design, great evaluation, great budget, great scope of work. If your needs section doesn't compel them to say this is what we need the monies for, you're missing the boat. We're missing the boat. I always gonna say we, because it's why we win at grants in this platform is because this boat we won't miss, right? We're going to use statistically significant data to make sure we compel our story. So how do I do that? How do we make sure we do that every single time? So if you're just talking to someone, when you're talking to your battle buddies, which you will, when you're talking to your foundations or your funders and you're writing your narrative, which you will, what do you need to do every single time to make sure you get funded? Every single time. And you guys, we've been doing this for what, 22 years now, 22 years. People say, oh my gosh, you got funded. You must be great at writing grants. And I'm going to tell you, we're pretty good at writing grants. And now ChatGPT is even pretty decent at putting some stuff together. But it doesn't get grants funded. It doesn't get grants funded. What gets grants funded is your compelling needs section, and then it's the line. It's like I wish I could draw like when you're sewing, right? When you kind of put it, you knit it together, you get that left side of the cloth and the right side of the cloth together, and you get the needle and you just knit it together. That's the beginning. And then when you pull that string and your thread and it's going through the cloth and you're weaving it through your design and your evaluation into the other parts of your program, that's what makes a grant get funded, right? It has to connect every single part together, which is a very strategic thing to do. I won't say it's difficult, very strategic. So I'm writing my needs section, one of the most important section of my grant. And I ask myself, well, how do I do this? How do I make sure my needs section leads me down that road, make sure my arrow is on track to getting where it needs to go to get funded? The first thing you're going to do is make sure your needs section is measurable. Whoa. And measurable is key. So, and I'm gonna give you guys a sample of what I mean by that. But and Jay, maybe you can prepare to pull that up. I think, did I email you the document on the sample?
I did not get that now.
Ooh, okay, I'll try to pull it up. Can you double check? I see it may have gone to your. I did send it. I may have shared it in your Google Drive. Okay. All right, so measurable means it's something that is key in distinguishing me from saying something like this, right? And I want to share my little narrative, but measurable means I want to impact, what did I say? Boys 6, 10 to 20, whatever, in the state of California, between the ages of 10 and 20, that are in high-risk communities in accessing after-school programs, right? That sounds pretty detailed, right? That's a very good detailed narrative, right? That's a great targeted population, right? That's a targeted population. But have I defined the need for those young boys, 10 to 20 years old, living in the state of California, living in high-risk communities that are going to be served by my program and accessing after-school programs? Have I talked about their need? And when I do, I have to make sure I come up with measurable narrative. I'm going to give you guys examples. The second one is favorable or impactful. So if I'm trying to talk about something positive, I want to give favorable statistics. And this is, you guys, this is crazy, but you would be surprised at how many people will say, oh, I need money for reducing crime, right? And then they'll put a statistic in there that'll say, oh, crime is down in my community. That's not favorable to your grant, right? If I'm trying to get a grant to reduce crime and crime went down this year in the city you're looking to serve, that's not favorable. I'm going to create jobs in Rhonda with my new infrastructure development, my salon. And in my needs section, I say something like, in Joliet, however, the unemployment rate is the lowest in the state of Illinois. That's not favorable to the fact that your salon is going to create jobs. And so even though those statistics may be true, you have to make sure you find favorable statistical data that supports your storyline. So every statistic doesn't go in your grant needs section, right? You don't put everything in there. You find those things that are favorable that tells the story that helps your story along. Does that make sense? Okay. And the last one is undeniable, and impactful is the other one. So on the other side, you do want to give the grave narrative, like what's the percentage of people that go to jail if they don't participate in after-school programs, or that drop out of school, or you try to give the impactful statistical data that shows, ooh, this is pretty grave. If we don't get them into these programs, the impact could be pretty grave. So you want to make sure it's either favorable to the storyline that you're telling, or it's impactful to the storyline that you're telling in a very grave way. So you got to know which way you want to go. And then you got to make sure it's undeniable, which is basically, we always either source it, like where are you getting your source of data from? And you, mindful of this, you're an industry expert. The minute you say, I have done this for over 11 years, whatever you're proposing, you're an industry expert. So you could be a source. You know, Executive Director Cliff Wright says that the young men in this area, that's the statistical data, or estimates that, we always use that word, estimates that over 80% of the kids that come through his program struggle with accessing nutritional foods. You are an industry expert. You can make estimations based on your history of serving the population that you're proposing. So measurable, favorable, or impactful, and undeniable. And so we have 111 best practices. You should be aware of that. That's in the portal. And this, under best practice number 7, it says backup claims with data to strengthen your proposal. All right. So I'm gonna go to the next one. So that's just the coaching, because I'm going to come back to the interactive. We're going to do a little interactive session on that. Any questions on my need and relevance of a data-driven, statistically significant need section? If not, I'm going to move forward. Okay, so for the RFP for SGI, we're going to end up doing those presentations on Saturday. So I was going to try to get them to come to this class. We are actually behind. They were going, we're not ready for them today by any means. And so what I've talked about is having them do it on Saturday, the 30th, or the 13th. I'm traveling that week in between those two. So just try to keep those dates open. I apologize. I thought we'd be a little further along. Challenges on our part on this deck, as well as on the software, as well as just wanting to make sure we're really ready to represent, as they say. So we're looking at the Saturday, the 30th or 13th. Keep those days open, and we'll come back to the final date once I get a clearer picture of who's going to be actually presenting for the mini grants or the large grants, and we'll finalize that then. I want to put those dates in the air so you guys can kind of put them tentatively on your calendar and mark them off. Okay,
Quick question.
sure, go ahead, Cliff.
You said March 30th or the 13th, which I believe that is
April. Sorry.
that's a Saturday. Saturday is the 12th.
I think it's is the 13th of April a Saturday? Is April 13th? Is it 13th April?
April 13th is a Sunday.
Okay, so maybe it's April 12th, because it's the 30th is a Saturday, correct? March 30th. I haven't looked either. Let me look. So it's March 30th and April 13th are the 2 days that, yeah. Okay, actually both of those days are Sunday. So it's one day before. So it's the 29th and the 12th. 29th and 12th. And I'll change it. Jay, change that for me as well.
Now I have a commitment on the 12th from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Because I'm teaching one of my workshops.
If I have to if I have to extend this one extra Sunday and get them to come on this, I will. I just had basically said today we were ready and we were not to do some of our preliminary, what we're going to go over today. So we're just 1 week behind. And then they travel, I travel, and the dates started getting crazy. But long story short, we will make sure it works for you, Cliff, and those that are wanting to do a pitch for the mini grants or the SGI, we'll make sure the dates work. And those are just 2 dates we put out as that work for both of them, that will hope work for as many of us as it can.
Okay.
All right. So today, so our financial strategies and partnership building. So one of the things we haven't touched on yet is how do you justify creating your budget to ensure the grantor can assist you with moving your priority passion project forward. So there's some financial strategies that you need to put in place, and there's some partnership building strategies you need to put in place. Today, I'm going to talk about your partnership building strategies. The financial strategies are covered again in our portal, and it goes over how to create your budget, how to create your budget justification, and the strategies you should use to do that, to frame why you're asking for 5,000 or 50,000 or 100,000. There's a strategy behind that, right? The one what they're willing to fund, knowing what you need, and trying to match the two is essence what that says. Today, building your partners also matters, because I want us to actually create a partnership before this cohort ends, because again, the model we use is called the E3P3 model, right? The P3 is about the public-private partnerships. You guys understood the E3 side of it, making sure you aligned your projects in one of those E's. Now we're on the P3 side of it. So the partnership building says you got to find partners that know that will make you look better, make you / your project, you / your where you're going, you / your narrative. It's going to make you look better. It's going to make you look stronger, is probably even a better word, right? And this doesn't count for those people that look at you with gooey eyes. Oh, you look so good today. Not talking about those people. We're talking real people that read your program design and say, ooh, that's better. That's better because of this partner you put in that will read your evaluation section and say, ooh, that's better because you have this person working with you, helping you, doing your qualitative or quantitative assessments or creating your evaluation tools. They're going to say, ooh, that's better. Applicant capability. Your strength is is are your strengths. But if there's some things that RFP says, and this is where the scoring of our RFP of the summary tools come into play. If it says, hey, you would be, score better if you're doing a school program and you had someone that's worked in the schools before, right? If you're doing a development program and you have a developer on your team. And so you have to know what makes you look stronger, better, sexy, whatever word you want to use, to the funder every single time you write your grant. And more specifically in three sections. Your design section. You don't need partners for your need section. That's data. You need data for that one. For your design section, your evaluation section, and your applicant capability sections, you need to have partners. Okay? The type of partners that you need are listed here. I'm sorry. Go back. The type of partners you need are here. So you can have your battle buddies. Those are people that are just in it. Like I call them your Aaron and your Hur. They've been with you from day one. They're going to see you through to the end. They're going to be there, right? You need those people that's going to just help you through the tough time. They could be your mental support, right? But you have your battle buddies. You have your industry experts that's local. It's like, oh, I know so-and-so down the street, around the corner. We all have our close networks of experts. You want to try to start identifying people that are coming in your circle that can really help move your projects forward. And then there's those that are national. They're not in your immediate circle, but you've seen them on networks, on stage, at events, and at national forums when you go out to these different dinners and luncheons, and you're like, oh my God, that person's amazing. And can you imagine that person's bio or narrative being a part of your project? And when readers read it, like, oh, the CNN hero of so-and-so is working with you and making this project work. Oh, the mentor that has done 45 different, I want to call them workshops, and it's not workshops. Yours, Olivia, your camps, not camps. Your what do you do? I'm gonna call them a camp because I don't remember. But taking them all over, and if someone that has done that for years is consulting you or working with you, your retreats, that's what it is. Gosh. So if you're working with someone, Marcia, and it's working with you in your retreats, or Living you and your technology, and Pastor Wright, you and your kids, and Rhonda, you and your salon, Jana, you and your tech, advancing your mental health social services, what you want to say is, how do I look better if I bring on another industry expert, another national organization, another government entity? Like if I can partner with school, I can partner with the city, I can partner with a community college, university, right? I can partner with my local church. I can partner with this local business that's done this before. So you need to today really just say, of this list, which category do you think you could pull a partner into your efforts? You don't have to know the person right now, but which category do you think you can pull someone or some entity into your public-private partnership application that would strengthen and make you look better to the funder? Which category? And I'm going to ask you guys to put it in the chat now, because I've been talking all this time and I've gotten no feedback, and I got to give you some feedback points. So go ahead and put in the chat which of these categories most resonates with you as it relates to a category where you feel you can find a partner or the partner type that would help strengthen you in moving your projects forward. Chat, chat, chat. Put it in the chat. Okay, okay. And this, okay, good, good, good. Faith-based organization. Yeah, Yeah, you got a lot of resources when you can work with different corporations or churches or organizations. So that's good. So once you've identified what makes you look better, the second thing you have to do is figure out, how do I engage them? How do I engage them in a relevant and realistic and tangible way? So there's four things again you have to do to make sure you're including them in your grant. It's like you've identified them. Great, I found the category. Now I found the person or the individual. You got to review first. You got to review their expertise. It's like, okay, let me see. It's always say, see what the funder might see. So how are you going to review their expertise? Go to their website. Put their name in. Ask them to send a bio, review their bio, which typically is in LinkedIn and someplace. Just review it. The corporation, what businesses have they worked with? Just review their expertise. You don't have to become some analyst and some HR person that's trying to hire anybody. Just, you've already identified, you need them. So you've identified they have something that you're looking for. So just want to make sure you review their expertise and it is what it is. Okay, great. Once you confirm that they would strengthen, they'll make you look better, right? They'll make your grant application look better. Then you're going to confirm their proposed cost or rate for services and make sure it's acceptable. And how you would do that is two things. One, you would, first of all, and we have a list in our portal, what the industry rates are for different services, right? You can even type that in Google, right? And just make sure, $25 an hour, $100 an hour, $250 an hour. So now you have, and I shouldn't say there, should be just confirm what the proposed cost rate for the services are and make sure it's acceptable to your budget. So if I'm asking for $100,000 and I'm trying to contract with a direct developer and their rate is, $2,500 an hour, I may not want to work with a developer for this project if I'm only asking for 100. If I'm doing $1 million or $2 million project, yes. But so you have to look at the rates of the business agency or service provider and make sure it fits within the budget. That's a financial strategy. So then once you review it and you confirm that, yep, I can fit that $50, $75 an hour, $100 an hour into my budget, then you say, okay, great, I need to request their participation as a partner. And how do I do that? This goes back to your Go Anywhere grant and your Priority Passion project, right? You're going to share the need section, share what you're doing, because your Priority Passion project, everybody that's printed it out, there's a section that came out that says the need. You're just going to share that. Say, hey, partner, agency, school district, I am looking to address this need in the state of California or in the area or the region, right? This is what I'm doing. And, oh, by the way, this is key, you guys, and there's template letters that does this in our portal that says, and I'm looking to pursue a grant for $100,000 or $500,000 for $250,000 from SGI, from whatever, right? And I should say from SGI. You can just say from the funding. I always say don't necessarily tell the source until you get a conversation with them. But you can say I'm writing a grant for $1 million to try to address the need that you just shared with them, right? And then the third thing you do in this letter, it's simple, it's short, it's not long. You just want to make sure they can say, hey, I'm interested, let's get on the call. Because typically once you say I'm pursuing a grant for X, I would like for you to be included in this grant, obviously, and get paid. And I would like you to help me with X. No long, drawn out scope of work and meet with people twice a week and counsel them and no details. I just want you to work with me. Work with me in carrying out this need that I've just explained to you. I'm going to be pursuing a grant for $1 million. I'm not even talking about how much I'm going to pay you in this email. I just want you to help me, and I need you to help me with X. What that simply does is let that person say, I'm interested, right? I can help her, or I'm interested with him or her in moving forward with this opportunity because I'm willing to do what you said, the one thing you said you would like for me to do, right? And you ended with, can we discuss further? And here's my email link or click, and love to talk to you ever how you guys want to get people to respond. That's the bottom line. So once they respond, obviously be a one-on-one dialogue, you're going to review the details then of a scope, and you're going to let them provide it. You're not going to do the work for them. You're going to let them, you say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to make sure these kids have an after school supportive service. I know you've done after school mentoring. Can you put me a scope of work of what you could do? I got a budget of $30,000. I'm going to, budget for that part of my grant. Would you be willing to do that? And can you put me together a scope of services that you could provide to help the 40 kids I'm going to serve from, San Bernardino County? Then they say, sure, because now they want the contract, right? So they could easily highlight the types of things that should be done in the after school program where kids are getting mentored, because that's what they do. And believe you, their scope that they create is going to be better than the scope that you create because they're the expert and you're not, right? So you review the details, you let them send you the scope. You've already given them the budget. You review the budget and let them send what their hours and rate would be. Say it's $30,000. They will say, oh, great, I will do this. I'll work 20 hours a month, quarter, what have you, and my rate is X, which at that point you don't care because you care to make sure it stays within the range that you want. But as long as it doesn't exceed the budget you shared with them, you're fine. Then great, you agree with what they've sent over. You say, great, I'll send you an MOU, which is a memorandum of understanding, which again, there's a template in our portal, or a letter of commitment where it says, hey, I'm going to do A in addressing this need, and I'm partnering with my new public-private partner that's going to do B, put some of the things that they put in their scope that they sent to you, and we're going to move forward at the rate that they said for the $30,000. Looking forward to moving forward. And now this person's MOU is part of your grant application, and you have a new partner to move forward with your grant. All right. And that's that one sentence, and you'll see this, you guys, when you're scoring a grant, you'll be amazed at how partners, like it's like a tick, like when you're watching the Wheel of Fortune and the thing is about to stop and it keeps ticking and you hear the ticking. It's like that. Every time you add a partner, you can see your score just going up. And not to say you got to saturate your application because your skill set is of value, but you do want to add partners. There's key partners that we say all the time you should have, because that makes your score go up. This is key on making sure you know how to engage them. And then when we get to our applicant capability section or the evaluation section, we're able to say, oh yeah, and by the way, I am partnering with this amazing person who's done this for years to carry out this component of my project. And the last step is, you guys, if you need assistance on this, use our portal, because we do have, not for all the types that we mentioned, because there's a database that we don't have, but if you're trying to engage local or national industry experts, we do have the system set up where they can help you with everything I just described. If you're working with the national organization that we've identified in our portal, obviously we can help you with engaging them. And then there's corporations. So we have the system set up where once you look at the let me look at industry experts that can help me with mentoring. You click on the mentoring portal, you'll see individuals there. And if there are ones you want to work with, the system will work with you on engaging them based on the process I just described. But you can do it independently on your own. You don't have to use the portal. Okay. So I want to do this real quick. I'm going to pause the screen. Like I know how to do this. I'm going to pause the screen and I'm going to pull up a sample. I want you guys to read and tell me if you're grasping how you could end up making a difference in engaging a partner using one way or the other. So let's see. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Oh, just had it up. Okay. I have to unpause. Resume. Okay. So do you see the inner circle handout right in your needs section?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So in your chat, be ready, be ready. I'm going to read to you this needs section, and I'm going to be as, let me make it bigger for you. I'm going to be as enthusiastic as I possibly can. Okay. Let's see. Is that big enough? Can you guys see? There we go. All right. You guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here's my needs section. I'm Steph Curry. I'm trying to make sure I get a grant for 3-point shooting, right? Here I go. Basketball has changed. The 3-pointer is more than just a shot. It's an art. It's a skill that has reshaped the game. I want to help young kids develop this skill early, giving them a chance to succeed in the game. And think about it. How many children, young athletes, dream of making that game-winning 3? But unfortunately, not all of them get the proper training or the right coaching. Some don't even have access to the facilities they need. Others just don't even know where to start. In understanding communities, most youth and players don't have access to coaches who specialize in long-range shooting. More and more, all shots taken in a game come from beyond the arc. If youth do not develop needed skills, they will continue to be challenged in their capacity to thrive in the modern game, and they may not be as competitive. We will be able to keep youth involved in basketball as long as we can with needed programs that will help them improve. If grant funds for this program from you, potential funder, will teach kids how to shoot 3-pointers the right way. We'll be giving them an opportunity to prove their skills, build confidence, and even increase their chances of playing at the next level. Everyone has seen how much the 3-point shot has changed the game, right? Every team in this league is looking for great shooters. If we can help the next generation develop this skill early, they'll be better prepared for the future of basketball. How does that sound? In the chat, 1 to 5. If you were a funder, give me some feedback. Would you say, oh, I might give you 5 is you're definitely going to fund me. 1 is, yeah, you're not convinced. 3 is you're kind of on the fence. Just put in the chat. I'm Steph Curry, by the way, so I don't miss 3s, so I'm pretty good at what I'm doing. So my applicant capability section is sound, right? So this is just a need section. Chat. And I'm afraid to look at the chat, so I'm assuming there's some chat numbers in there. All right. Hopefully I didn't get any 5s on that, because here is the same premise of getting the need section with statistically significant data. And I want you guys to hear/feel the difference, right? Same thing. Basketball has changed. In the last 20 years, 3-point shooting has skyrocketed. In 2004, teams attempted an average of just 15 3-pointers per game. However, today, that number has more than doubled to more than 35 shots per game. The 3-point shot isn't just a trend, it's now becoming a necessity. But here's the problem. Youth players, primarily those 6 to 16 years of age, aren't being provided the structured training that aids them in properly developing the skills they need. Research even shows that over 70% of the youth basketball programs that focus primarily on layups and mid-range shooting, and they have little to no structured training for long-range shooting. Additionally, studies show that players who receive proper 3-point shooting training at early ages are 40% more likely to develop into consistent shooters at the high school level and go on to play college basketball. In underserved communities, the gap is even wider. Only 1 in 5 youth players in these areas have access to coaches who specialize in long-range shooting. And yet data shows that in the NBA in 2022, nearly 50% of all shots taken in a game have come from beyond the arc. This sustained lack of structured training is going to limit the opportunities for these targeted kids who could thrive in the modern game. This lack of structured training is also going to widen the competitive gap of them to be able to perform, and it's also going to decrease the youth retention in basketball, as data also shows that 60% of kids quit sports by the age of 13 because they don't feel like they're improving. Your funding will eliminate these barriers and support us in developing a structured training program that ensures targeted youth get training they need to compete at the best, highest level. Now give me your score as to what you feel this data was able to, to share with you as a funder, as to my expertise in being able to address a real issue. Put it in the chat. And I know it felt different. It felt different with me just reading it, right? And so, okay, now I'm going to switch back. Let me try this again. So the point is, let me see if I can read the chat. Okay, I can see it now. Vocational training and professional life coaching. Yes, yes, yes. Behavioral services. I got a 5 from Cliff. I got a 1 and 2. Was that the first time, Olivia, or the second time?
That was the first one.
Okay, okay.
Because it didn't have any data in it.
Good. Definitely a 5 the second time. Excellent. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back. So and you guys, you would be amazed at how many. And I score grants often for the state, and I used to do it earlier on for the federal government. You'd be amazed at how many programs, proposals are written, and people talk about how they feel. Like, I feel like this program would really be great. I feel like this would be really helpful. I feel, and there's no data in that. And your feelings could be valid or they could not be, but it's just a feeling. And data supersedes feelings 99.9% of the time in the grant world, because your feelings, unfortunately, in this space, I won't say they don't matter, but they don't have significant relevance, right? And so, so you guys feel the difference? I had Jade send it out to you. Put it in your portals, put it in your data, put it in your library somewhere, because I want you guys to resonate with just how different one section of a grant proposal can change the trajectory of your funding. All right. So having said that, let me just go back to our ending. So one of the things I want you to do this week is to share your needs section from your Priority Passion project. I want you to infuse it with data. One thing we're not able to do, or at this point, is infuse current data. It's always pulling up historical data that's not always relevant. I want you to take your P3, and as you're sharing, or find some relevant areas where you can put some relevant data points, where you can add some statistical data or statistical relevance into your PPP, and I want you to share it with one person. Just want your battle buddy, somebody maybe you're trying to partner, that you're going to partner with. Heck, if you want to call me and Jade and share it with us, I don't care. But I need you to start verbalizing what it is you're doing in a way that matters. Because we're going to do that, right? When we get ready to get your mini grants or grants, you're going to have to verbalize it, right? So start with us. Start saying what needs to be said in the manner that it needs to be said in order for you to get funded. Any questions on that? I like that for us, because I think it really gets us back into that funding space. Any questions? All right. All right. You guys can see the session 4 again. Engage them. I think I'm one screen behind. All right. So can you guys see the next 2 week slide checklist?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what we're looking at for the next 2 weeks and preferably next week. But again, we have 2 weeks to make this happen. This is week 4. We have next week, and that's culminating our 5-week sessions, you guys. So there's the goal that we will submit. My commitment to you was that every session you're learning, growing, and expanding in what you need to learn, grow, and expand in order to be able to submit and be in a position to receive your first or next grant. So we got 2 weeks to do this. That's a lot. So that means I should have a lot of people on the call on Wednesday if you kind of stumbled and fall, because I mentioned this is a reset. Everything from week 1 to week 4 now is open, right? You can go back to week 1, fill in some gaps, week 2, fill in some gaps, 3 and 4. And again, on Wednesdays, we're there to help you do that. But this week, we're saying we need you to secure that one partner. That goes back to who you're going to be sharing that needs section with. Find that one person that was on that list that you're going to want to partner with. And then I want you to use the draft in your portal, the draft LOI or the draft MOU. I want you to go through that process. Jay, let's send the slide deck out. And I want you to get someone to agree to partner with you in moving your project forward. Don't put any dollar amounts in there this time. Just, yeah, gentlemen, at this point, we just want you to partner with us. And I think you can say, hey, you're pursuing grants for 2, if you're going after a large grant, for those who are doing a larger grant, you can say that. For the ones that have yet to identify your grant, you can just say right now, looking for you to, and change your LOI, my fault on this. You can just say letter of support. I need you to support me until you specifically have the grant you've identified you're going to go after. And you can let them know, hey, I'll be coming back with you with the letter of intent, a letter of commitment or MOU if you're going to work with me on grant, which I'll be identifying in the next 2 weeks. But for now, I want you to work on the process of getting someone to say yes and sending them the LOI or letter of support and getting it to come back to you. That's a very key process. So that's one, secure one partner to work with you in any capacity you deem you need, and then describe your need. Like I said, it's going to help you secure, I guess, this project. And first, describe your need for your PP to the group. This is going to be next week. So before we get in front of a funder and a team and everyone else, I want you guys to go back to your Priority Passion Project. And remember, there's a section where it has your need. I want you to be able to next week share with the team your Priority Passion Project and the need for your project. And let me go over this again. I'm sorry. So it goes like this. So you can bring someone to be on the call with you, someone from your battle buddy, right? And I want your battle buddy to talk about that section in your Priority Passion Project where it talks about you, your applicant capability, what you've done. So they got to know who you are. They got to be saying, hey, I know they're committed to this. They're going to speak to your capability, 2 minutes, nothing elaborate. And then you're going to talk about your needs section based on what we went over today with some statistical significance in it, right? That whole thing is just 4 to 5 minutes for everyone. It's not some long drawn out process. But what I want you to get to feel is the ability of 1, I'm on a team. 2, your team has different roles. Next week, that role for your partner will be to talk about you and how amazing you are. And then you will talk about how amazing the need for your Priority Passion Project is. It's just a 5-minute session for everybody to kind of just get that out there. And again, for you to really understand why your project deserves to be funded. Then for those that did by last Friday say they wanted to do the larger grant, there are some SGI RFP requirements. We are sending out the selection letters this week for those that were selected to go to the next level. You should get a letter by Monday, Tuesday at the latest, defining what those steps are. And then for those that are just going to do the mini grant and try to submit the grant from the portal that you've identified, Jade and I committed earlier on in the conversation that if our portal system doesn't greenlight you, we're going to send you the opportunity directly ourselves. So you'll still get the grants to choose from So you can select one, and then we're going to work on getting that grant out the door for you. Okay, so that's our commitment. We work on that. We may get you'll get some calls to make sure we get that going for everybody, because I got to get you guys to a point where you have a grant opportunity identified that we can pursue with you on your behalf. Everybody clear on the green lights things for next week? And again, this is a 2-week process. So if you don't get it done this week, don't freak out, because we have 2 weeks to make sure these 4 things are done. Next week, I'll just do a coaching corner, and then we'll refocus on these things. And the coaching corner will be a little bit more on the financial strategies for those budgets that you have to create. And we're closing out with the presentations from everyone to kind of see how amazing our projects are that we'll be willing to support or will be supporting going forward. So I did the interactive activity. That was the needs section. Any Q&A? So any questions you have regarding anything that was shared today? I've blown my 45 minutes again. But in the chat any questions real quick?
Yes, my daughter is going to be in town on next Sunday. She lives in New York, and we have a family event to go to, and so if I can either be excused or
I thought you were saying you were going to let her be your battle buddy.
hey,
Have her be my battle buddy.
yeah, that would be good, but
you know what I'm going to ask, and we can talk about it a little bit more on Wednesday. I think if there's a way, whether if we want to do a recording before Sunday, so when your opportunity comes, if you have that already done, we can just have that to share with the group. Would be my off the top of my head thought. But let's talk about that on Wednesday and see if we can't still keep you in the loop on not missing that.
Okay.
Real quick, you guys. So at least one thing that you've learned today. Again, I want to make sure I'm staying on point with getting you guys from point A to point Z, hopefully, right? If there was something you learned today to help you feel better about how you can find and apply for competitive grants, go ahead and that would be at least one thing. So on a scale of 1 to 5 between finding and applying for competitive grants, anything that was really essential that's effective in helping you get grants, helping you network for successfully accessing grants like partners, maximizing your funding potential from strategies or things you've heard today, or anything you think you've heard today that would increase your success probability in securing grants. Go ahead and let me know again, 1 to 5, and be as honest as possible. Cohort 1, you guys got to let us know what we're doing good or well. But every session, I want to monitor my own self, right? Are we getting closer to making sure you guys are advancing in these areas? So let me know, scale 1 to 5. Chat. Remember, you get points for chatting, by the way. We save your chats. And if you put a 5, you get more points. No. If you put a 5, you get anyway, me and my own humor. I crack myself up sometimes, as they say. Thank you. Good. And the 5 makes me excited because I really want to make sure you're learning and understanding and growing in this, because I think there's so much opportunity here. So let me say this in closing, and thanks again for you guys for being the amazing non-clock watchers, because I know this is late for you, Rhonda. I know it's also late too for you. Well, it's probably late for everybody, but the goal is to make sure we get through this and succeed. So one of the things I want you guys to remember as I thank you again for being a part of this inner circle is that, the Creator's abundance is limitless, right? We all know that. He's infinite, all that is. And the key to being limitless is stepping away from those limiting practices. So we all have limiting practices. If you can write them down as to what is limiting you from believing and knowing that you are deserving of this first or next grant, I need you to really start recognizing that, because we can step away from those things that are limiting us from believing we are deserving of this next grant. And one thing I always talk about is we've created this fund or this platform, the E3P3 software, as a door to limitlessness, right? Because I've watched for 20 some years the millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars that go out to people that don't look like us. But we have to have the courage, you and I, those in the cohort, we have to have the courage to turn the knobs every single day, right? It's just not going through one door. Oh, I can do a need section. Great. Oh, I can do an applicant capability section. Great. It's another door. You got to be willing to turn the knobs of limitlessness every day in order to step into this world of accessing grants. So I just encourage you to do that. Know that I'm here with you on this journey. And thank you again for helping me change the 1%. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
God bless.
God bless everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.